Hi everybody, this is Bev, Clarko Vision, and I've not got a CD up there in the background. I usually have a CD and a record on that. Oh dear. Never mind. We'll worry about that now, shall we? Because I'll be showing a few things here anyway. So, welcome to my vinyl tag video for 2021. This is the normal vinyl tag that somebody in the VC puts out. I don't know how it first came around. I don't know the history behind it when it first launched. I just know that it's a yearly thing, and it's just a random 20 questions about music and your collection, which gets you looking through your collection, showing a few albums of your favourites or whatever. And if you're a newer person, you know, with a channel, or if you're thinking about a channel, doing videos, then this is kind of a good way to start or get going. It's pretty easy. The questions are laid out for you. You can chat about yourself as well in the video if you want. It's just one of these videos that a lot of people like watching just to see what they show. Possibly there's some people out there that are not fussed for this and they kind of skip it. Well, that's fine, you know, it's a case of whatever. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. It's kind of fun. Let me just move this thing here. That's better. It's kind of fun. For me, it gets me looking through my collection, gets me thinking about things, so I am doing mine. So I believe the questions came from Tales from the Crates channel, and I've heard of that channel. I don't actually subscribe, but I believe he's been around a good while in the VC. He seems a very nice guy. I actually went and watched his video to get a full understanding of the questions. So I'm going to I'll put a list of the questions below in the comments, so if any of you want to follow on this yourself from this video, you can just copy and paste, or I will also leave a link to Tales from the Crate himself. Apologies, I forget the gentleman's name on that channel, but if you want to watch his video, because he launched it and he kind of explains as he goes through the questions kind of what he means, so I kind of wanted to watch his to get a full understanding of what he was looking for regarding answers, so I could kind of understand it myself a bit better. I've watched a couple of other people do it as well, and here's mine. And on a further note, for the metal community, I will be also participating in the Rock Scouts metal tag that he has come up with for obviously the metal people. Our kind of music is made up of all the different types of genres and sub-genres that encompasses everything under rock and metal, you know, from the soft rock to the extreme brutal heavy stuff that there's people like it from each side and everywhere in between in the metal community. So that's another one that was derived by the Rock Scout, who is part of the metal community, and he has specifically made that tailored to metal people, so I'm going to be doing that as well. I thought I'd just do this one first, get this one done, and then I'm going to go back and rethink everything through for the metal one at some point. So let's get on with it. So, question 1. Wait a minute, hang on, I've got the questions stuck here on my phone, plus I've got my answers scribbled down here. Just let me, so I don't lose my mind here. That's it there. Just get the... Oh, wait a minute, I've hit the wrong one. Typical me. There it's there, the vinyl tag. That's it there. I did have this ready, and obviously hit something and it's disappeared from my screen. Right, here we have it. So question 1 was, tell us about a discovery you made in 2020. So you obviously discovered a new band or something, whatever. I made a discovery in 2020, but it wasn't well, it was actually. It was kind of a new band to me, but the discovery is relating to this band here, Roko, and this is their debut album, self-titled Roko. Now, the discovery I made regarding this was there is a long time ago on the radio, I used to tape songs of the local heavy metal weekly show that was on Radio 4th, and I recorded a song that was played one night off of that, and it was a cover of Jefferson Starship's Jane, and I really liked this cover of the song. It's one of these rare covers where you feel it's better than the original. In this particular case, I thought that was the case for me. It was a more hard rock, and this would be 1990 or 1991, round about that time. So it was at the end of the 80s. Right, bang on, they had finished, and it was the beginning of the 90s coming in at this point. And this album is a 1990 album, so it was definitely not before 1990 that this time when I taped it off the radio. And for years and years and years, up until this year, I was never sure, because I no longer had the cassette tape that had the song on it, and I could never remember who the DJ said the band was. And so I have been trying to find out throughout time, at various points in time, who did this cover, because I couldn't find it anywhere. I had checked the internet umpteen times, I'd looked in magazines a few times, keeping my eyes open, but and until last year I finally made the discovery. I can't remember exactly how I did it, but I found it on YouTube, and it was Jane, and it's by this band, Roko. So yeah, it's track 2, that's it there, and it's, so that was my discovery. So when I got that, I thought, right, I wanted to hunt down the album, I went and sampled a couple of it, and it's a great band, a great album. They're a German-based band, and they're just kind of that late 80s hard rock melodic metal sound, kind of, just good kind of stuff. So yeah, that was my discovery. Right, how am I going to do this? I kind of miss my old computer table, because it was twice the length of this, and I could put stuff, but I've not got the same space. Right, question 2. God, we're 8 minutes in and I'm at question 2. This is typical me, right? Show a quarantine by. So I'm assuming that means something, when you were in the house, you ordered it online because you couldn't go out. Well, speaking for me, I ordered quite a few. Being on the, for medical reasons and stuff, I was classed as higher risk when it comes to catching COVID-19. So I was one of the people in the earlier part of the year in March when we went into lockdown to shield. And I shielded until shielding ended at the end of July here. So April, May, June, I pretty much wasn't going anywhere, really. I was going out with the dog on occasions and out to the garden as often as I could, or as when the weather allowed, and when it got more into the summer. And so I was ordering stuff online because I thought, well, there's one way to keep bringing the music in is I can order it online. So eBay, Discogs, Amazon, and all the record labels. I went into AFM Records, and they had what they dubbed a virus sale at the time, and so I bought loads. And so one of them, I just picked out one, and here it is. It's Elven King's The Pagan Manifesto. This was in their virus sale. I think I picked up another copy as well and sent it as VCLT down under. So yeah, and this is fantastic, kind of folky, folk power metal kind of thing. Great band. So Elven King, The Pagan Manifesto. Question 3. LP you would want to find in 2021. There's quite a lot. I have a wants list obviously, but ones I would really love to find would be Magnum's The Serpent Rings, which was their latest release just from last year, and I waited, hoping that the price would come down a little bit because the price was quite high, and I just waited too long, and it basically got scarce. It sold out on the label's website, and on Amazon they were down to like the last few copies, and the price just went up instead of down, so I ended up not getting it. As of now, it seems to be sold out everywhere, or you can buy it for a small fortune, so I'll probably end up with a CD, but if I was to find a vinyl copy of that, I'd love it. The other one being would be Pretty Maid's Kingmaker, which is their previous album to the one that they released last year. Again, similar story, it just sold out on vinyl. They did limited pressings, and now it's a fortune. So I'd like to get Kingmaker from Pretty Maids if I could as well, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I do have the CD of that one. But yeah, there's a few, there's loads to be honest. So, show a box set. Okay, well I do have a few box sets. I don't go out my way to collect box sets, but if there's a certain box set out there that I want, I will try and get a hold of it. And I'm going to show this one, which is what I got, was it Christmas 2019, I think I got this one, and it's Halloween Starlight, the Noise Records collection. So it's everything from when they were signed to Noise Records. So absolutely fantastic stuff, great box set. I'm just going to put that back there. So show a concept album. Let me just check. Concept album. Okay, so I have a few of these as well, and I just picked one. And I'm going to show this one, which is by Holter, Trond Holter, and it's Vlad the Impaler. Sorry for the glare here. Vlad the Impaler, and this is obviously a concept album about the life and times of Vlad the Impaler. Really good stuff, just kind of modern, traditional / power metal kind of stuff, just great melodic stuff as well. What's that? Next up, an album where an artist or a band changed direction. Okay, well I wasn't sure, I kind of hummed and hawed about this one, and I settled on this one. I thought I'm going to go with this, and I'm going to show Destiny because I don't have the previous one, which I believe was also them starting to change direction, but this one I believe was really quite different to everything else in their catalogue. It was very commercial sounding, I think it was their attempt at trying to, some people say, reach out more to the American market and become more radio friendly, appeal to maybe a broader audience, in the vein of what other bands like Bon Jovi and Def Leppard were doing because of their success in the 80s. So that, I think, was possibly what this was, and it was a bit of a departure from their more solid, traditional, new wave of British heavy metal origins, a bit raw, and just a bit more guitar oriented kind of thing. So I've gone with Saxon's Destiny. Show a White Label promo, which is, what is it? Now, I couldn't recall if I had an actual LP, an album of a white label promo, but I knew for certain I had some singles, so I've gone and dug out one of my Japanese promos, and it's promotional issue of Def Leppard's Bringing on the Heartbreak. And I'll tell you in a minute what's on side B. And just to show you the actual white label, there it is there. So white label, it's on Vertigo. Yeah, I'm just trying to make so you can sort of see without the grey layer, because the light bounces right off the white anyway. The promo label, the symbol indicating promo in Japan is that there on the actual label. So Bringing on the Heartbreak, and on the B side is Me and My Wine, and this is the 1981 versions, not the 1984 remixes. I think, because it says 1981 here and does not say 1984. So I don't know, even though these photographs were probably taken in about 1984 of the band, so I'm not 100%. I'd need to listen to it again, can't remember. So there's my white label promo. Just put, that was the original sleeve. It came in with that promo sticker on the outside as well. I'll just kind of keep it all there. So then you have to show a compilation album. So I dug out, I have a couple, I don't have too many, I have a few. I picked this one, which is lots of different bands. It's like a promotional thing for Mercury, and I guess it's a compilation of new bands that they had signed at the time, because this is, I think it's 1980. Can't see the actual date on the back, to be honest, but it's basically just titled New Rock, New Bands, New Albums. That's what it says on the spine as well. Play it loud. It's a German release, so this is like for the German market. And you also got with a kind of a magazine type press thing, and it's got information about all the bands inside it. And the reason I have it is because Def Leppard are on here with Answer to the Master, the last track on side A, and there's On Through the Night. So yeah, that's basically what the other bands on here I'm not too familiar with, to be honest. I'm just looking at to see if it has an actual date. God, I just can't spot. Doesn't actually give a year, but it must be around 1980. It must be. So there we have it. Some of the other bands on here: Van Wilkes, Ian McLagan, The Kids, Faith Band, Original Mirrors, The Reels, Richard Fagan, Phoenix, and Duke Jupiter. That's quite tricky to say, Duke Jupiter. So yeah, I'm not really familiar with the other bands. So that is the compilation. So the one after that is hang on a second. The next one is an album that tells a story, or basically what the chap at Tales from the Crate was meaning regarding this one, sorry, was if I show an album that there's a story attached to it, where, you know, something interesting might happen when you obtained it or whatever. Not so much the same as the previous question about a concept album. It wasn't meant to be the same question, which, watching a couple of people's, I kind of think people kind of just picked up on that, but I don't know if they actually watched Tales for the Crates video. So that was kind of why I wanted to watch it, just to check that for myself, and just to let people know if they still fancy doing this and they see my video. It's kind of show an album that there's a long-winded story about it or whatever. Now, I had to think about this, and to be honest, sorry, I'm just talking away here. I couldn't think of too much of a long-winded story, to be honest, about most of my records. There's one I can tell you about. There's a slight story, it's a very short story, but it's not overly exciting, but this was the best I could think of. And it's to do with this album, Enforcer's Zenith. Enforcer were quite popular a couple of years back, releasing 2 or 3 good new traditional metal albums. They're a fairly newish band. And then they released this one, and a lot of the people who liked the previous albums thought, oh, it's a bit more softer, not as hard and heavy, a bit more melodic. And I thought, that sounds like it might be of interest to me. So I went and purchased it. Now, I purchased it off of Amazon Germany rather than Amazon UK because Amazon Germany were selling it cheaper. No brainer. And I got it and all the rest of it, and I listened to it a couple of times and I was quite disappointed. This was one of my disappointments for 2019 as well, because it was a 2019 release. And I thought, I'm not really digging this album. And I thought, what do? I'll keep it a while, and then I thought, I'll just return it and use the money for something else. So I went and requested the refund thing through Amazon, where, just expected it to be done in the usual way. You just send it back and they either refund you or you get something else or whatever. And I can't remember the option I put for the reason, but looking back on my Amazon history, I noticed this was down as a gift. And I don't know why I had put it down as a gift, to be honest. Maybe I had an idea behind it, I can't remember. However, I said I wanted to return it for whatever reason, and absolutely no problem. They refunded me the money and said no need to return it. So I basically, effectively got this album in my hands for free, if you like. I did pay for it initially, but I was refunded the price because they said I didn't need to return it. So I was really quite surprised at that, and I thought, oh well, fine, fair enough, I'll keep it, I'll pass it on to somebody. And I thought, well, I've still got it at the moment, I'll give it a few more listens. And I've given it a few more listens, and I'm going to give it another listen, one more listen. Because it's been a while since my last, but I just couldn't take to it. I don't know if the singer's voice, just something about it that didn't click with me or what, just a weird kind of vibe I was getting. So that's basically the story behind this. I have an album I'm not too perturbed about, and it didn't really cost me anything, thanks to Amazon Germany. So that's that one, the one with the story behind it. Next, as I say, it's not the most exciting story. Let's see, let's get going here. The actual question for this one, my phone's locked. An album that needs a vinyl pressing. Well, there's quite a few, and I wasn't sure at first whether to think, do they mean a repress or an album that just has never been pressed on vinyl at all? And I went for that, one that's never been pressed on vinyl at all. So I've picked 2. One I don't have to show because I don't have it on CD at all. But I've picked Gamma Ray, No World Order. That needs a vinyl pressing because I'm going to collect them all anyway, and where I can grab vinyl I will, but the cover of that album is another one that needs a vinyl pressing anyway, so that's one. And the other one I do have on CD, which again has only been released on CD, and it's Mob Rules, German metal band. This is their debut, Savage Land, and this came out on Limb Records, Limb Music, in 1999, but it was never issued on vinyl at this point, obviously. So, and it's a great album that should have a vinyl pressing. So that's CD, just put that out the way. Show a common album, one that you know is very popular and you've possibly seen a lot, and an uncommon album that you hardly ever see. Right, no worries, here's the common album, which I'm assuming loads of people are very familiar with, Slippery When Wet. And the uncommon, now I don't have it on vinyl, I do have it on CD, but it's even a little bit difficult to get on CD. It was reissued on CD in 2018 on Pride and Joy Music. And it is this album, self-titled, by the band youve. And they're just one of these classic 80s hard rock, melodic metal, pop metal kind of European bands. They are from, I think, Sweden. And this was originally released in 1985. And it was only ever released as well in Sweden. It was only released in their own country, and I think that's why it is so extremely rare. The vinyl's on my wants list, but I don't ever hope to kind of land it on vinyl, because there is a couple of copies of Discogs right now, but you will have to fork out £175 if you want the original 1985 Swedish pressing. So I thought the CD will do me fine. But yeah, it's a good album. Interesting stuff. As I say, it's very melodic. It's not like overly heavy, but it's not really glammy either. In fact, it might lean more towards the AOR hard rock side of things rather than kind of the glam or sleaze side of things, to be honest. But yeah, it's a good album. So that's youve, self-titled, for the rare. Where are we next? Show an EP. Well, I'm picking this one. I have a few I could have picked, and I've gone with Pretty Maids. Self-titled EP from 1983. And this was the original 1983 pressing before they signed to major label CBS, and this is on, I forget the name of the label, but yeah, it's a 5, or is it 6? 1, 2, 3, 4, there's 6 tracks on it. 3 on each side, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's just raw, again, classic early 80s melodic metal. It is just really good. It's so enjoyable. One of the best EPs ever. Honestly, you need to kind of listen to this. If you heard some Pretty Made stuff, but you've not heard this, I would encourage you to check it out just to see. But absolutely wonderful, wonderful, wonderful thing. I'm delighted to own it. Show a girl band or girl group. What was it? A girl group, it says. Show a girl group. So it turns out I don't think I have an all-female group in my collection. I've been through, I've checked my Discogs list, and well, I have one, but it's not in the rock and metal category. But I have like female solo artists. There's Jo and Jet, and the Blackhearts. You know, there's Heart, but they're not all female. There's Robin Beck. There's Pat Benatar. There's Belinda Carlisle. There's these kind of people. But an actual group, there you have it, people. Bananarama, the Greatest Hits collection, and that's a compilation album as well, incidentally. So there is my all-female group. Yeah, and I know this was shown on, was it James Alder showed it on Facebook, he's got the vinyl of this the other day. So that's my female group. Show a cover of an album that you love. An album cover you love, that's how it's worded. There's so many of them. I could have picked loads, but I've chosen this. It is one of my absolute favourites. I love the art on this. It's got kind of two of my favourite Eddies. You've got Pharaoh Eddie and you've got Cyborg Eddie, and the two are incorporated into the one image here, and I just adore that piece of art. And that's Somewhere Back in Time. It's another compilation. So what have we got here? An album that you've listened to the most. So again, Tales from the Crate, when he was explaining this one, an album you listened to the most, he says it basically means, he says you'll probably have lots, he says, but it's one of those albums where you have listened to loads of times in your life, whether you listened to it non-stop back in the day, whether it's a more recent album and you've been listening to it non-stop recently, or whether it's just an album that generally you have listened to lots of times throughout the course of your life because it's one of your favourite albums or something. So show one that you listen to the most. Now I could, I'm mentioning two, but I'm just showing, I could show Hysteria by Def Leppard, because that's one. But everybody's seen that a million times, so I'm going to show this one. This is a more recent release. It's 2018 on AFM Records, and it's Bonfire's Temple of Lies. And when I picked this up at the end of 2018, it really grabbed me. It was one of my favourite releases from 2018, and I have spun it a lot since owning this in the last couple of years. Really, really uplifting melodic metal, modern traditional metal, Bonfire, back to the best. This album, from start to finish, was great for me. So, Bonfire, Temple of Lies, that I listened to lots. Hang on. Where are we? An album you had to get an OG copy of. I just realised it says had to right here and now instead of, I thought it said have to. Well, the ones I had to get an OG copy of would be the first 4 Def Leppard albums, but I kind of had them anyway. However, one that I have to still get an OG of is this one, Running Wild's Death or Glory. Now, this is the reissue. This is the 2017 remastered, reissued on double vinyl. It's split into 2 discs, but I would absolutely love to get the OG of this from 1989, an original pressing. Most likely, possibly a German pressing, but whatever. I'll take a UK one if I have to. It's just that this is more common in Germany than it is here, because from that time they weren't as popular in the UK as they were in Germany back in the late 80s. So I would just love to have, because it's my favourite Running Wild album. Absolutely adore it, and I just would love to have an original from that era, just to have. So that's that. What have we got? 17, number 17. Show the last album you purchased. Well, there was 2 I bought at the same time, and they were both on CD. So this one is Invictus, and the album Eden. This is a 2020 release as well on Iron Shield. They are a German metal band, traditional metal, great stuff. And also with it I purchased 2019's release of The Dark Element, which is Annette Olsen and Janne Lipmanen, symphonic power metal kind of stuff, this duo and the project. So it's the last 2 I bought. Well, it's the last 2 I've received that I bought. I actually bought something last night online, but it's not even dispatched yet. So, an album that they don't get. Now, this was the hardest one I found out of all. So basically, it's an album that you absolutely love to bits, and other people don't get why you love it to bits. And it's like, no, I didn't get that at all. What's so exciting about that? That kind of idea. And I went for one that is personal to me, and one trying to be of a more general view. So the one with the kind of more general view I've picked is this band's 2019 album, Mirath, Tunisian, what are they? Blazing desert metal is how they describe themselves. Kind of epic, symphonic, Middle Eastern desert metal kind of thing. And their album, oh god, Chile, I don't know how it's pronounced. Still don't know how it's pronounced. I absolutely love this album because it's heavy metal, but it's a little bit different to, thought something was falling on the floor there. Just different to the norm and what, people just generally talking about metal. It's because I think, and this is just my own thoughts, I think maybe other people don't get it regarding this album because they use instruments that you wouldn't expect for standard use in a metal album, such as, they're kind of, because they're native to Tunisia, that's the country they come from, they have clarinets, they have a ney and a gaspa, they have violins, they have traditional Tunisian instruments, which I can't find the name of at this moment in time, and they have orchestral style vocals on it in places as well. Let me just check here. I'm trying to skim over all the hang on a second, where's that? Anyway, but yeah, basically they have their own Tunisian flavour, and it's very noticeable in this. It's like their own culture seeps into the music kind of thing. And because of those differences and the use of different elements, possibly you could say the same about maybe folk metal bands and their use of slightly different instruments. I think in general that might put some people off, and they just don't like it. It's not for them. Now, I can totally understand that because I am the same when it comes to certain genres like black metal, for example, or death metal. I don't get them at all. Mostly it's the vocals that put me off, this growly, particularly if you can't even understand what they're saying. I mean, as I say, I don't get it, right? But that's just me. So that is what I kind of thought about in the more general sense for that. On a completely personal note, one that I love and people hate, well, there's this here, Friends tape, which is a compilation, and it was released in 1982 via Teledisc. It was advertised through the TV, and my auntie bought it. I have since, getting back into vinyl, found a copy in a charity shop, believe it or not, locally, of the vinyl. It's only ever came out in tape and vinyl, there is no CD. So original Teledisc, absolutely really nice condition. And it is basically, it's called Friends, and it's basically easy listening country love songs. Traditional old school country love songs from round about the 70s, late 60s, 70s, early 80s kind of thing. You've got folk like Billy Joe Spears on it, and Anne Murray, Kenny Rogers, Tammy Wynette, Dr. Hook, Charlie Rich, all these folk. And it's so special to me because me and my brother, we grew up with this. As I say, it was bought in 82. This would be played in the car constantly when we were going on holidays, Easter and in the summer, to caravan parks down south in Wales and England. It was constantly on in the car. There was a few others as well. And we basically got to know every song and every word to every song on both sides. And it's just one of these sing-along. It just became a summer soundtrack to our youth, basically. And yeah, I absolutely love it because it holds so many good, happy memories of my youth, obviously, and family life back then. So that is... But other people might not get it. So that's that. You know, most metalheads out there might say, country, you know, whatever, you know, but yeah, it is just one of these things. I absolutely love this. And, right, let me get this right here. So, next question, which is number 19. Show a punk album or the closest thing you have to it. Well, unfortunately, I don't, well, or fortunately, but basically, I just don't have any punk at all or anything close to it because the short answer is that I don't like punks. I just don't have any punk. So I can't show that one. So, and the final question 20, your favourite 2020 reissue, show that. So, my favourite is actually this one. I just got it in early December. I only discovered it was being reissued on vinyl for the first time ever at the end of October, beginning of November. And it's Gotards, made in Switzerland, live in Zurich. It's a live album, only ever released on CD, and there's a DVD that accompanies it, and this was reissued on vinyl, and I was absolutely over the moon. So this is it. And that is my vinyl tag. And I did hope to get it done quicker than that, but that's about 2 minutes per question, which isn't too bad for me. And a couple of extra bits of blabbering, so yeah. So hope you enjoyed this. As I say, details below in the comment, in the description, and feel free to comment and all that jazz, and I'll catch you in the next video, and look out for my metal tag as well. Right, bye now, bye.